Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, all of you. The Honorable Mrs. Metty Agustine Primary as our lecturer in this course, and all my friends here. First of all, I would like to say thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. May we all be in a good condition here. Amin. Let's open this presentation by saying Basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, let me introduce myself first. I'm Kantia Aprida Salma, and my NPM is 112. And here I'll be the moderator for my group's presentation today. We'll present chapter 5, which is about who are we assessing, placement, need analysis, and diagnostics. And four consists of Ade Muhammad Faizal with NPM 087, and then Donny Adriansyah with NPM 125, and me myself, and then Novi Astuti with NPM 102, and then Nurul Hilmy with NPM 197, and then the last member Destriana with NPM 100. And here are the contents of our presentation. The first, which is about which assessment tools can help us to get to know our students, why it is important, and then the second about who our students are and how best to help them learn. And then the third assessment placement, and then the next need analysis, and then the last topic, which is about diagnostic assessment. So without any further ado, allow me to present the first topic, which is about assessment. Which assessment tools can help us to get to know our student and why this is important. And in this part, we'll discuss assessment approaches and practices that can help us as a teacher to better understand our students' learning by addressing the following question below. The first, what is each student in my class bringing to the learning of the language? And then how does each my student intend to use the language in the future? And then the last question, what are my students' learning goals? Here to recognize the unique and varied cognitive, cultural, educational, and emotional differences of our students, we take a closer look at the specific assessment tools that we use to better understand our student needs and to better understand our students' capabilities. And as we know, the tools such as portfolios, checklists, essay, multiple choice, and so on, all of these are important, and it can support student learning. The tools give the student clear ideas about what is important to learn and the criteria or expectation for group work. And when assessment is aligned with or matches instruction, also can shape the content of learning outcomes of certain courses to the individual student in our classes or program. And to know and find out which assessment tools is the best, the teacher must consider the placement test, and then the need analysis approaches, and then diagnostic assessment. We'll examine the potential of a specification-driven placement testing, and then explore its advantages at a different level of student, also as a source of quality feedback for both teacher and student. Then we'll take a look at the different approaches to need analysis, as well as examine the increased role of diagnostic assessment in language teaching. And all of this will be discussed further through the stages that will be explained by the next presenters, namely Vina. To I begin now about assessment of placement here.
All right, thank you, moderator, for giving me a chance to deliver my lecture for today. And as Kantia said before, that I would like to share with you. We would like to discuss about assessment for placement, that part of the and getting to know how who our students are and how best to help them to learn. And assessment of placement, as the name implies, have the purpose of placing students of levels pre-existing program, and those program with divine structure and progression. In some contexts, they are used for grouping students based on based of share characteristic, example, levels of proficiency, backgrounds, interests, and needs. For example, in less structured program, which define classes and level of interaction based program on whoever enrolls. We know that when we are working with our student who have similar characteristic, it is easier for us as teacher to shape our teaching for the common good. And it is not unusual, however, to find that although some students are placed on the basis of some shared characteristic, they may differ considerably in others. And these are the differences that we address through ongoing assessment practice in our classrooms. And as we discussed in chapter 4, when there's our specification development that explicitly relate performance on the test to the program's development range. The information provided by the placement task will be especially informative. In some contexts, self-assessment as a result of some students are usually considered in relation to first the other student who are is like on the program at the same time, and second one is the overall spread of student scores across the program. To the next self-assessment tool may be used as the primary assessment tool in placement, particularly but not executively with adult language learners in low stake context. A student might be another example is we as a teacher can do some student may be asked to identify their comfort level with language use in particular situation by responding self-assessment for placement. Example, you can make a statement and student can answer based on their answer yes or no question like that. So that example, and we also can use can-do statement, maybe a vehicle for self-assessment, teacher assessment, or both. A student might be respond to a series of can-do statements, such as the you can see in Chang and Fox book, and page 44. There are some example of can-do statement. And if the student is known to teacher, example has completed a course and is being considered for placement at another level, the teacher may assess the student using the same can-do statement. This statement is particularly informative assessment proceeded if both students and teacher respond to the same can-do statement followed by an assessment conference in which teacher and student will compare their answer to the can-do statement and discuss any difference that occur. It should be noted that a fully specific and validated placement test can have multi-level version, which are the same or similar level of difficulty, sample the same or similar competency and skills, and so on. Maybe that's all that I can explain about assessment of placement. I'm sorry if there are mistakes, and I give it back to Kantia. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Vina. Such a great explanation about assessment of placement. And next, we'll go to the second part, which is about um, analysis. It will be delivered by Donny Adriansyah, so please, time is yours, Donny.
Thank you to the moderator for giving me the opportunity to deliver. Thank you to the moderator for giving me the opportunity to deliver material by me. Uh, According to Chang and Fox, the main purpose of needs analysis is to elicit information about individuals in classroom or program in order to inform course design decisions. Knowing more about students will help us to identify the activities and experiences that have the greatest potential of supporting learning. And instrument as part of need analysis is the first one, a home language survey. The instruments of a home language survey, which elicits useful information about entering students' linguistic and educational backgrounds. And the second one, a language use surveys, which elicits detailed information on the use of the target languages and additional languages around the home and the school or community. And the last, external proficiency test. It means IELTS or TOEFL. One point is clear: the more we know, the more effective will be in shaping our teaching to meet our students' needs and supporting their language development. When needs analysis is systematic and well designed, it will help us to prioritize the activities in the classrooms. And needs analysis help us to the answers difficult questions that are implicit in each of the decisions as make as we orchestrate in the learning in classrooms. Examples of questions include: what is the most useful activity for the students in class at the time or for this purpose? And how will the activity help to achieve the intended learning outcomes of the course? Where should I begin? Should I do first? What is the most necessary? And the first step in need assessment or need analysis is to identify the kind of information about our students that will be the most helpful to know. Once we have decided what we would like to measure, we can begin to operationalize the measurement in concrete terms as the test, checklist, questionnaires, interviews, journals, response, and surveys, using any of the assessment tools that we have in our assessment repertoire. And last, the views of needs analysis. The views of need analysis as means of eliciting and supporting students' participation in selection of and emphasizes on class activities, topics, and procedures. We may review our students' input on the directions taken in the course as an essential feature of engagement, means of making it clear and to consider their participation in choosing the direction of the course as a way of increasing its meaningfulness by recognizing our students' interest, elicited through need assessment. And this is to encourage the development of their personal sense of responsibility of learning, improve goal setting, and increase awareness of the role of self-assessment. And last, also to consider a needs analysis as an analytical means that will help us to define next step. As such, the purpose of needs analysis will be elicit specific information about students' current level in order to establish what we should do next. And the goal is to encourage development and from this the This perspective development is best achieved when we have an precise understanding of what the students bring to the learning so that can out incremental activities to support development. I give it back to the mother.
Well, thank you so much, Donny, for delivering your explanation. And then let's move to the next part, which is about diagnostic assessment. Here, diagnostic assessment has three types. And the first type is about diagnostic assessment in classroom, which will be delivered by Novi. So please, Novi, stage is yours.
All right, thank you, moderator, for the opportunity to continue the presentation. So here I will explain about diagnostic assessment and its application in the classroom. Before it, sorry, the previous slide, please. Yeah. So let's start with the definition of diagnostic assessment. So we can define this diagnostic assessment as a form of pre-assessment that examines students' individuals and unique capabilities and weaknesses, and then identifies specific activities that address those capabilities to support an individual's development. So with this form of assessment, teachers can plan efficient instruction to support students' development. And then you might wonder, how diagnostic assessment is applied in the classroom. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah. First, let's take a case in a conversation class. In a conversation class, a diagnostic assessment can be used to obtain the micro-level issues that hinder students speaking when speaking a new language. For example, we know that pronunciation differences hinder communication. A diagnostic test of pronunciation at the beginning of a course would identify the issues that students needed to address with our help as a teachers. And then let's see the example of its application in the classroom. As you can see here, some students may have difficulty to pronounce certain consonants. Later on, we give them a pre-test or diagnostic assessment. This diagnostic assessment would identify which one and identify potential exercise to address a student recognition and production of these consonants to support their pronunciation improvement. Okay, and next slide, please. Yeah, and the second case is in English for academic purposes class. In this class, the student will differ in their development of academic skill. For example, like academic reading, writing, speaking, and listening skill. And as a teacher, we should support them to develop their full potential. And now let's take a look at this example of a diagnostic writing unit. From this diagnostic writing unit, teachers can identify students' strengths and weaknesses in writing by examining student awareness in a language structure, accuracy, organization, and so on that become the writing criteria in this assessment. Okay, it seems enough for me. Back to the moderator.
Well, thank you also for Novi for the good explanation about assessment in the about diagnostic in the classroom. I'm sorry, and we'll continue to the second type of diagnostic assessment. It will be delivered by Faizal. So please, you may begin now.
Okay, my thanks to Kantia as moderator. Here I will explain about diagnostic assessment across a program. As explained earlier, the diagnostic assessment is an assessment that assesses the student's current knowledge based on the topic of the problem to be studied. And this helps teachers identify what students know and determine what students understand to build strength for their specific needs. The diagnosis assessment across a program is used in a program. The teacher in EAP program are provided with post-admission diagnostic information about each of the students through administrations of diagnosis tests of all students in the program. And the information support group identifications and activity development for teacher. EAP teacher use the diagnosis information to set up group of students with similar language profile and use the individual learning portfolios to document change. It defines intensive activities for group which target weaknesses and competencies, knowledge and skills that have been identified through diagnostic assessment. Meanwhile, the other teacher targets the language weaknesses of various group of students in their class. And this is voluntary and students are rewarded with a few bonus points. And also the portfolio here is useful for gathering evidence of ongoing learning and students development. I will get it back to moderator. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ade, for the good explanation about that. And see to the last type of diagnostics will be delivered by Nurul Hilmy. So Nurul, time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for the moderator. Okay, this is the last types of diagnostic assessment. It is diagnostic assessment across a system. It's different. It's a little bit different from before. Across a program, it is across a system. At the time of writing, much work is underway in diagnostic assessment, particularly in English medium universities and other post-secondary contexts with large numbers of students who come from diverse linguistic and cultural background. And for now, then there is new acronym are being popularized to capture trends in using diagnosis assessment early in a student's academic career in order to identify areas of risk. Maybe on average, universities are increasingly concerned about the academic success of their students. They are risking about successfulness about their student, about the knowledge of the student, and leading to a language risk diagnostic called post-admission English assessment, or we can call it PELA. For example, in Auckland, New Zealand, and Melbourne, Australia, universities. Among of that, in Auckland and in the Melbourne universities, the PELA test is administered for admission to students. At the University of Auckland, the Diagnostic English Language Needs Assessment. Okay, I will explain that there is PELA and there is DELNA. If PELA is post-admission English assessment, and for DELNA it is Diagnostic English Language Needs Assessment. So in the University of Auckland, it is using DELNA. Now, it's taken by students who have been accepted into their degree program, and in Auckland and Melbourne University, PELA test given for admission students. At the University of Auckland, the Diagnostic English Language Assessment, or we call it DELNA, is taken by students who have been accepted into their degree program. And to identify specific learning options to address these areas of risk. So it can be resolved for this risking. Okay, maybe enough for me. I give it back to moderator.
All right, thank you also for Nurul Hilmy. Okay, everyone, to conclude that to improve and to produce the good assessment, we as a teacher needs to know our students, who we assessing, and then the assessment tools that we use when assess and then assessment placement analysis, as well as the assessment diagnostics, as mentioned before. So everyone, and we'll go to the next session. If you have any question, please don't hesitate and let us know, and we'll discuss in the next Q&A session later. So I'm Kantia Aprida Salma. As a moderator, would like to thank all presenters here, our lecturers and friends who have listened to our presentation on chapter 5 today. And Alhamdulillah, thank you all of you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.